Sega, the gaming giant that got crushed by its own console. Cold open. If you were a kid in the 90s, you remember the war cry. Sega. Loud, proud, rebellious. While Nintendo played it safe, Sega brought the edge. They gave us Sonic. They gave us blood in Mortal Kombat. They gave us attitude. But in the end, they also gave us one of the biggest falls in gaming history. Act 1. The Genesis of Greatness. In 1989, Sega launched the Genesis in the US. And everything changed. With 16-bit graphics and a blast of speed, it made Nintendo's NES look outdated. Enter Sonic the Hedgehog. The blue blur became Sega's answer to Mario, but faster, cooler, and way more in your face. Sega's marketing? Ruthless. Genesis does what Nintendo. Commercials with trash talk and explosions. Ads targeting older kids and teens. It worked. By the early 90s, Sega Genesis actually outsold Nintendo in America. They had Street Fighter, NBA Jam, Altered Beast, Mortal Kombat, and Censored. Sega was the culture. Act 2, the add-on avalanche. But then, Sega got greedy, or maybe just confused. They released Sega CD, a clunky, expensive add-on that few bought. 32X, another add-on that split the fanbase. Sega Saturn, launched early, with no warning, and barely any games. Gamers were confused. Developers were frustrated. Retailers were overwhelmed. Instead of focusing on one powerful console, Sega spread itself thin. By the time Nintendo dropped the N64 and Sony came with the PlayStation, Sega had lost momentum and trust. Act 3, The Last Hope, Dreamcast. In 1999, Sega tried to reboot the hype with the Dreamcast. It was ahead of its time. Online play, before Xbox Live. A visual memory card, VMU. 3D graphics that rivaled arcades. Launch titles like Crazy Taxi and Soul Calibur. Critics loved it. Hardcore fans praised it. But the masses? They were waiting for the PlayStation 2. And when Sony dropped the PS2 in 2000, with a DVD player built in, it was game over. Act 4. Unplugging the console. Dreamcast sales slowed. Sega was bleeding money. In March 2001, Sega officially exited the console business. No more hardware. No more console wars. They pivoted to third-party games, making titles for Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. It was the end of an era. From industry leader to software-only studio. Act V, Legacy Mode. Sega's fall wasn't because of one bad console. It was too many too fast. They lost trust, lost money, and lost their lead. But let's not forget, Sega pushed boundaries. They introduced online gaming, edgy branding, arcade-quality experiences at home. Some of the most iconic characters in history. Sonic, Streets of Rage, Jet Set Radio, those legacies live on. And Dreamcast? It's now a cult classic. Closing reflection. Sega flew high. They broke rules. But in the end, they couldn't outrun the mistakes. Still, if you ever heard that startup chime, if you ever screamed, Sonic, while smashing buttons, then you know, Sega may have stopped making consoles, but they'll never be discontinued in our hearts.